Imagine a prison so secure, so fortified, that no one had ever escaped until now. Towering concrete walls, 24-hour surveillance, steel-reinforced doors, and armed guards at every corner. A place built to crush the spirit of even the most daring minds. And yet, one man did the unthinkable. Not only did he escape, he made it look like something out of a Hollywood thriller. This is not just a story about a man breaking free from prison, it's a story about resilience, intelligence, and a relentless will to defy the impossible. A tale that forced authorities to question their own systems, embarrassed a nation's prison department, and captured the imagination of millions. How could a single man outsmart an entire system designed to keep him locked in for life? Meet Rashid Khan, a name now whispered in criminal circles with both admiration and disbelief. A former mechanical engineer turned bank robber, Rashid wasn't your average inmate. He was educated, meticulous, and extremely patient. But what made him truly dangerous wasn't his criminal record, it was his mind. While most inmates spent their time in idle chatter or despair, Rashid spent his days observing, calculating, and quietly laying the groundwork for an escape no one saw coming. Rashid had been sentenced to 25 years behind bars after orchestrating one of the most sophisticated bank heists in the country's history. His capture had been a major victory for law enforcement, but they underestimated him. To them, he was just another convict, another statistic. But inside those cold, gray walls, Rashid had already begun to plan his second act, one that would shake the foundations of the prison system. The prison he was sent to wasn't just any correctional facility. It was known as Central Block 9, a maximum security fortress where escape was considered impossible. Built to contain the country's most dangerous criminals, it was equipped with motion sensors, infrared cameras, underground seismic detectors, and a rotation of guards trained to respond within seconds. No one had ever broken out, not even attempted it. The facility prided itself on its spotless record, until Rashid Khan came along. What drove him? Was it revenge, a desire for freedom, or simply the thrill of outsmarting the very system that caged him? The truth is far more complex and far more fascinating. His escape wasn't just about slipping past guards or digging tunnels. It involved engineering, deception, timing, and nerves of steel. In the next chapters, we'll take you inside this breathtaking escape, the meticulous planning, the narrow close calls, and the moment Rashid disappeared from the most secure prison in the nation. So buckle up, because this isn't just a jailbreak story, it's a masterclass in genius under pressure. If Rashid Khan's escape was flawless, it wasn't luck. It was years in the making. From the moment he stepped foot inside Central Block 9, he knew he had no intention of serving the full 25-year sentence. But he also knew one thing clearly: brute force wouldn't work. The only way out was through patience, precision, and planning. Rashid didn't rush. For the first few months, he did nothing suspicious. He followed the rules, kept a low profile, and acted like just another prisoner adjusting to life on the inside. Guards ignored him. Inmates barely noticed him. But Rashid was watching everything. He spent his days mapping the prison in his mind. He carefully studied guard shift changes, security camera blind spots, and the timing of door locks. He memorized the layout of every hallway, every maintenance tunnel, and every ventilation duct. Slowly, he began identifying weaknesses, flaws so small that no one had noticed them before. But Rashid did. One of his biggest breakthroughs came when he managed to befriend an old prison janitor. The man had worked in Central Block 9 for over 15 years. He didn't know Rashid's real plan, of course, but during casual conversations, he unknowingly revealed critical information, like which maintenance shaft hadn't been used in years, or how certain motion sensors malfunctioned during storms. Rashid stored every word like gold, using scraps of wire, bits of metal, and parts from broken appliances in the prison workshop. Rashid began crafting small tools. Nothing obvious, nothing too dangerous. But over time, he built a makeshift lockpick, a compact mirror to monitor hallway corners, and even a hook to help him maneuver inside air vents. Still, the plan wasn't just about the hardware. It was about timing. He chose to target a specific night, one where a thunderstorm was forecast. Not only would it reduce visibility, but it would also trigger false alarms in some of the older surveillance systems, according to what the janitor had mentioned. To avoid suspicion, Rashid faked being ill for a week before the escape, staying mostly in his cell. The guards grew used to his absence from routine activities. He was just another quiet inmate, wasting away like the rest. What nobody knew was that he had been silently unscrewing the bolts under his bed frame every night, removing a section of the floor that led to a forgotten crawl space beneath the prison. The tunnel was narrow, filled with rats and sewage, but it was real, and it was his only shot. Rashid timed everything down to the second. He knew how long it would take guards to make their rounds, where the camera blind spots overlapped, and how many minutes he had before the next shift began. The plan was ready. All that remained was execution. The most remarkable part? He didn't tell a soul, no accomplices, no other inmates, no distractions, just one man, alone, methodically working toward his freedom. In the next chapter, we'll relive the tense, stormy night when Rashid Khan vanished from a place no one had ever escaped before. It was just past midnight when the storm finally rolled in over Central Block 9. Heavy rain lashed the windows, and thunder shook the prison walls. For most inmates, it was just another miserable night behind bars. But for Rashid Khan, it was the moment he had spent nearly 2 years preparing for. Inside his cell, Rashid sat calmly on his bunk, listening. Every detail had been accounted for, down to the weather forecast, the guard shift schedule, and the internal glitch that caused the hallway lights to flicker during storms. As lightning cracked across the sky, Rashid got to work. He quietly slid aside his mattress and pulled up the loose panel beneath his bed. The opening revealed a tight, filthy crawlspace barely wide enough for a man to fit. He slipped inside, dragging a small pouch of tools he had crafted and hidden over time. Every movement was calculated, every sound masked by the roar of rain. This tunnel hadn't been used in decades. It was originally part of the old drainage system, sealed off after a renovation, but not sealed well enough. Rashid had discovered it during his time in the prison workshop, when maintenance schematics had briefly been left unattended. He had memorized them in minutes. The tunnel stretched for nearly 40 feet beneath the east wing, ending in a corroded steel grate that led into a storage room once used for prison supplies. Over the years, it had been forgotten. Locked, yes, but never checked. Rashid had spent months weakening the bolts from below, using a vinegar and soap solution that slowly corroded the rusted joints. Now came the most dangerous part. With steady hands, he loosened the final screws and removed the grate. He crawled into the storage room, sweat mixing with dirt and rainwater. The corridor outside was monitored by a single camera, one that, thanks to the electrical storm, was flickering on and off. Timing was everything. When the hallway darkened, he made his move. Silent and swift, he slipped through the door and headed toward the laundry exit, where supplies were delivered twice a week. He had learned that the outer gate had a delayed lock reset, meaning if timed perfectly, it could be passed through before it fully re-engaged. Heart pounding, Rashid used a small wedge to jam the gate's latch during one of its open cycles. He slipped through the gap and emerged into the delivery courtyard. From there, a rusted maintenance ladder led to the outer perimeter wall. Lightning flashed, illuminating the yard. Cameras? Still glitching. Guards? Distracted by alarms tripped on the other end of the building, a diversion Rashid had triggered remotely, using an old fuse and timer inside a janitor's closet earlier that day. With every ounce of strength, he climbed the ladder, reached the top of the wall, and used a handmade rope fashioned from laundry linens to lower himself down the other side. He landed, rolled, and ran, vanishing into the storm. By dawn, Rashid Khan was gone. The prison was in lockdown. Sirens blared, but it was too late. He was already miles away. The morning after the escape felt unreal. Guards rushed through the cell blocks in a frenzy, barking orders, overturning beds, and double-checking inmate head counts. But nothing could change the cold, undeniable truth. Rashid Khan was gone. The first sign of something wrong had come during the 5 a.m. roll call. A guard paused at cell 27B, expecting the usual silent nod from Rashid. Instead, he found an empty bed, neatly made, with a single spoon resting on the pillow, as if left behind deliberately. Panic rippled through the prison in seconds. Within minutes, the entire facility went into code red lockdown. Sirens wailed across Central Block 9. All exits were sealed, inmates were confined to their cells, and a full internal search was launched. Drones scanned the perimeter. K-9 units were brought in. Helicopters hovered over nearby towns, but no trace of Rashid was found. For prison officials, it was a nightmare. Central Block 9 had never experienced a breach, not even a serious attempt. The escape shattered their image of infallibility and exposed gaping flaws in their system. The warden, Colonel Farouk, held a press conference later that day, visibly shaken. "We are treating this as a national security concern. A full investigation is underway. This was not a random act. It was a meticulously planned escape by a highly intelligent individual. We will find him." But deep down, everyone knew Rashid had pulled off something extraordinary. The media wasted no time. News channels ran 24/7 coverage with headlines like, "Mastermind behind bars vanishes without a trace. Greatest prison break in national history. How did Rashid Khan outsmart the system?" Social media exploded with theories. Some believed he had inside help. Others thought he might have fled the country. Memes, conspiracy threads, and even fan pages popped up overnight. He went from being a convicted criminal to a sort of folk legend, a modern-day Houdini. Meanwhile, the prison staff faced harsh scrutiny. An internal audit revealed shocking lapses, security cameras with faulty wiring, outdated tunnel maps, and overworked guards on double shifts. The janitor, who had unknowingly fed Rashid critical information, resigned immediately. 3 officers were suspended pending investigation. But perhaps the most interesting response came from law enforcement and intelligence agencies. A special task force was formed, combining federal police, counterterrorism units, and cybercrime specialists. They believed Rashid's escape was only the beginning, that he might be planning something far bigger now that he was free. Yet as days turned into weeks, the trail grew cold. There were reported sightings, one in Karachi, another in Quetta, and even one across the border, but none could be confirmed. Rashid Khan had seemingly vanished into thin air. No fingerprints, no surveillance hits, no digital activity. It was as if he had erased himself completely. For the world, the question remained: where is Rashid Khan? For the authorities, a more haunting one lingered: what is he planning next? In the days following Rashid Khan's escape, a massive nationwide manhunt was launched, the likes of which had rarely been seen before. His face was plastered across every highway billboard, bus terminal, and television screen. The government offered a 10 million rupee reward for any information leading to his arrest. Airports were put on high alert, borders were tightened, and intelligence units worked around the clock to track him down. But Rashid had disappeared without a trace. For investigators, it was maddening. There were no fingerprints, no CCTV footage outside the prison, no intercepted calls, and no bank transactions. It was as if Rashid had never existed. Every move he had made post-escape had been either masked, untraceable, or anticipated so well in advance that even the best minds in the business couldn't catch up. There were theories. Some believed he had changed his identity and slipped into another country with the help of a criminal network. Others speculated that he had gone underground, hiding in the vast, lawless tribal regions, where even law enforcement hesitated to go. A few even claimed he had undergone plastic surgery and was living in plain sight, rich, anonymous, and untouchable. Then came the letters. Exactly 30 days after the escape, a sealed envelope arrived at the Central Block 9 prison office. No return address, just one line written on the back: "You built a cage. I built a map." Inside was a handwritten note, unmistakably in Rashid's style. It wasn't a confession or a taunt. It was a challenge. He wrote about freedom, about systems that break men instead of rehabilitating them, and about the idea that intelligence can be a weapon greater than any gun. He ended the letter with a chilling final line. I didn't escape from prison. I escaped from your imagination of control. The message sparked outrage from officials and fascination from the public. Rashid wasn't just free, he was speaking directly to those who failed to contain him. Over the next few months, similar letters surfaced in different cities, all believed to be from him. Each one was more philosophical than the last, almost like he was building a narrative, not just running. The media dubbed him the Phantom of Block 9. Some called him a criminal genius, others called him dangerous and delusional, but no one could deny one thing: he had beaten the system. Years have passed now, and Rashid Khan remains one of the most wanted fugitives in the country. The reward for his capture has doubled. His case is still active, but there have been no solid leads, no confirmed sightings, no mistakes. Just silence, and the occasional envelope that reminds everyone he's still out there. Whether he lives in luxury or continues to move in shadows, one truth remains: the man who walked out of an unbreakable prison has never been caught, and perhaps he never will be.